that we are all facing. It is nobody seems to be absolved from it, but most particularly women are suffering. They are the ones who seem to hold the family most in their heart. You know, when the man can, you know, have it in his head, I have to pay school fees, the woman has to do all these calculations. And so when the business or entrepreneurship, because of cultural barriers and several issues that women face, that could be from every aspect. We know, I don't want to sound it too much, it's obvious that we live in a deeply patriarchal society, and sometimes women do not have access to all the things that will help them blossom and thrive in career paths. But we're talking entrepreneurship today. I don't want to seem like a preacher right here, being a women advocate myself, but how can we achieve empowering women through impactful entrepreneurship initiatives and programs? What has happened to several that has been championed from foundations, governments, international agencies? What has been going on? That's the conversation we'll be having today in the studio to do justice to this very important issue of impactful entrepreneurship empowerment programs for women. Impactful being underlined here is Gloria Praise Chinwendu Basi. She's a programs officer, Sahel Consulting, Agriculture and Nutrition. Thank you so much for being part of the program. We also have Amaka Chime, programs coordinator. I beg your pardon? Ruth, oh, I apologize. Ruth is right here with us. She's the operations manager of the same organization.
African Food Change Makers.
African for Change Makers. Thank you so much for coming to the studios. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
I would Chinwendu Basi. I could not, you know, I'm from Cross River State. So when I hear Basi, I'm like, are you my sister from another mother? You know, but it's good to know. Where do you come from?
Thank you very much, Joy. My name is Gloria Praise Basi. Chinwendu, of course, Basi. I'm from Ebonyi State.
Okay, so after the show, we'll get into how she became a Basi, but let's move on now. Impactful entrepreneurship for women. So let me start with you, Ruth. What do you think is the issue right now? When you look at the Nigerian women, it seems like they still struggle in spite of the many conferences and training activities and initiatives and programs that are often organized. Why are we still where we are?
Thank you very much for the question about women. But the first thing I would like to say is that we've come a long way. You know, there's a lot of issues that women face, yes, but with the advocacy, with the empowerment, with the programs, there's a lot of improvement going on. And even though sometimes it might seem like it's slow, we are seeing a lot of advancements with the opportunities that are given to women, because kind of like priority is placed on them right now to try to manage the imbalance within the gender imbalance. And so as that priority is pushing towards the direction of women, more women are stepping up, you know, to the plate to say, okay, I want to begin to put to work what I have inside, and then release, bring in that part of into the productivity narrative, bring in their part, because I'd like to see the gender thing like a two-winged plane. So a plane cannot fly without the two wings, and then the engines are the two sides. So a lot of times because one engine is not working, you know, there's an imbalance. So it doesn't even do men a service to have to take over everything. So we need to have that balance, and women are stepping up and we're seeing improvement. However, we need to do more. Women need to be more confident to step up and begin to put their value and their potential to work to change the narrative about women's contribution to society, women's contribution to productivity, economic growth, and all that.
Okay, that's a good one. But do you agree? And after that answer, I would like you to also address why women? Why does it seem like we have so much spotlight on the women gender, women folk?
Thank you very much once again for that question. I agree with my colleague here, but I would like to narrow it down to agriculture.
Yes.
Considering that
that's your tough.
Definitely. So when it comes to women, we discover that most of the times people delegate women to the kitchen, not to any other job aside from cooking, anything. So the focus right now is on women because we need more women to be heard, more women to be seen, more women doing exceptionally well in the agri sector. So let me bring it down to our organization, African Food Changemakers. In a bid to encourage women, have a program we call LAF. It's the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship Program. The essence of that program is to celebrate and amplify the voices of African women in the agri space. So you would think about it when it comes to even agriculture. Women are more into the basic aspects, let's say the planting, the tilling the ground or something like that. But when it comes to the stage, the global stage, we find more men taking up all these roles.
Right.
So the duty of African Food Changemakers or organizations such as African Food Changemakers is to help these women voices to be heard. Let the world know that women can also be in the global stage and add more important value to the table and not just to the kitchen. Thank you very much.
That's a very good one. Add value, not just in the kitchen. What do you think has been pulling women back? Because it's frightening, really, when you think about women, especially in agriculture, and women in other sectors, really, who have to face tough situations. Our farmers are screaming, there's insecurity. I bet my bottom dollar it has affected more women than we even report about. But beyond that, are there still cultural issues that are still holding women back from thriving?
Yeah, definitely. The cultural issue is there, and it's something that has been a major factor for lots of women, not being sure whether they should step up. But I know when we speak culturally, a lot of things culturally has changed, even for men. And so women also need to know that cultural
bias,
yes, it's transforming. There are things that are actually changing within the cultural space, because when we talk about advancements, it's not everybody that used to accept some of the things that are accepted now, definitely. Yes. So now it's accepted. But when it comes to women, I think culturally there are factors in some places. But one other thing that is a factor is not being able to see enough women models out there. So there's something about modeling, there's something about representation. And so representation is key. And that's why, like she said, in Africa Food Changemakers, we understand the gap that exists when it comes to representation of women, when it comes to women being relegated, especially in the space that we function in, which is the agri-food space. We see that even chefs, for instance, she's talking about kitchen, women relegated to the kitchen. But when it comes to chefs who are supposed to serve in restaurants and everything, women are not, given those positions. More chefs, there are more male chefs than women chefs. So if we're relegated to the background and we are seen as people who are better at cooking, why wouldn't women be the ones who are chefs? So we can see that when it comes to... And this has
seeped into almost everything.
So when it comes to visibility, when it comes to recognition, when it comes to being out there, the women are not the first people that are considered. And they also absorb this understanding and absorb this sentiment. And women also tend to draw back. But we found out that representation matters, putting women out there matters, so that other women who are able to see them in that space are able to be encouraged. Through our Leading African Women in Food Fellowship, like she said, we've done a lot of that representation. I'm just coming from our closeout session for this year's cohort that held in Kigali alongside the African Food System Forum in Kigali. And we had one of our fellows from the last cohort be projected on a stage with other chefs. It was the chef's manifesto, and because of the program, because of the visibility that the program gave her, she was identified last year and then invited to the same program she came for last year to be on the stage. And so a lot of ladies, I met with a lot of ladies who were in the program, who are in the agricultural space, who are, you know, hiding, relegated, but when they saw her on the stage, it made an impact in their motivation, in their conviction that yes, I can also be there. And so that's what this program does for women. So, and the more people who can understand that representation and modeling matters, and you know, the more women can step up, you know, on stages and, you know, like forget their, you know, we have a tendency to be humble, to be modest. Yes, it's important to be modest, but it's also important for us to know that there's something at stake and we need to speak up, we need to show up, we need to add our own value, and we need to make that change so that more people can contribute, more women especially can begin to rise up and step up to what they are capable of and what they have the potential to achieve.
Wow. Okay, so let me get to Gloria Praise. What are you doing about it? Because we already know what the issues are. What are we doing about it? What are you doing about it to ensure that these women are confident enough to say, I am worthy to be heard, I am worthy to be seen, and I can also raise another generation of women who are just as confident?
Oh, thank you very much once again. So, when I say I represent African for Change Makers.
Right.
So what we are doing is coming up with different programs that would help sensitize these women, prepare them properly and fit for this stage. So at African for Change Makers, we have different programs, and our major aim is to have gender inclusion in all our programs. We have the program on LAF, the Leading African Women program, that is strictly for women. We have another program on climate, which is BRACE, the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks program. We have 40% women representation in that program. And then we have another program, the Scaling Exports program. We call it SCP for short. It's also targeted towards women. A percentage of the participants is targeted towards women. So as an organization, what we are doing is to ensure that women are included in all of our programs, and also ensure that their capacity are being built to climb up this stage and not be scared about anything that comes with gender, thinking that, oh, I can't do it because I'm a woman, I'm supposed to be relegated to the kitchen or anywhere else but this stage. So what we are doing is advocacy programs, training programs, providing support and resources, and most importantly, a community for these women. Okay.
So what would you say that when you do these initiatives, are they often very receptive? And I know that women who have had access to education naturally are often more receptive. They could all tell from the word go the benefits of some of these initiatives, but that's not our target, because we have a larger number who are in urban areas and all that, or rural areas rather, rural areas and all that, and they need all the support they can get. But when you approach them, bearing in mind the many issues they have, challenges, or sometimes having to go back to their husbands for permissions and all, are they often receptive to these initiatives and programs you introduce?
So we found that women are receptive, yes, but when it comes to some cultural inhibitions, they could draw back because of those concerns. But part of what we do is to innovate. So instead of us to like try to push back over, the cultural, we tend to come in respecting the culture and trying to do a transformative approach, innovative approach. One of the things we do in our sister company Sahel is the initiative of the home garden, because we know that there's a cultural nuance about women not being acceptable for women to be in farms and do all that. However, we know that they can produce.
There are some cultures in Nigeria?
There are some cultures, there are cultures that prevent women from going to the farm. And so we found out that they still have land, some spaces around the homes, where they can still plant home gardens and then contribute especially to the nutritional value of food, because mostly the big farmlands are dedicated to the staples, and then those staples. But then when it comes to growing vegetables and some more nutritional, there are some initiatives that the home garden initiatives that we've set up for the women.
Is this before, sorry to cut you, I just need to ask, is this before the campaign by the wife of the president?
Long before that.
Right.
So that initiative helps to encourage them to think about what they can do around their homes, set up home gardens, teaching them how to irrigate, teaching them how to plant, teaching them how to nurture and tend, nutrition-rich foods, because particularly the woman is responsible for the nutrition of her home, for the feeding of the home, and then it's important if she knows exactly what to incorporate into the dishes, she's able to feed her family in a more nutritious way, because that's actually another concern when it comes to that we are addressing as an organization, and our sister organizations are addressing nutrition issues when it comes to feeding, when it comes to growing crops. And so through that initiatives, we're bringing women to the fore. So innovatively, we're trying to walk around what is in existence as we try to advocate for change, as we try to advocate for inclusion, as we try to advocate that, look, these women have the ability to contribute to this, so don't keep them aside, and sometimes we even come to the point where we have to pull back from some communities that are really against this, to show that we stand for equity, not just equality, because equity tells us that not everybody is on the same level, not everybody. So equity kind of puts everybody on the same level. So it makes sure that at the end of the day, the outcome, everyone is evenly, things are evenly distributed based on where you are, not just just share equally, but based on where. So if the disadvantage that women face, it's important for us to, something that in some spaces we call positive bias. For instance, in our programs where we have an allocation that 40% of the people must be women, so you try to ensure that you push this promotion towards women, encourage them. You also highlight the women who have been in the program to be able to for people to be able to see that the benefits of this program, the BRACE program especially, is very key, because the benefit of the program is to help people understand how to adopt climate smart practices in their production, to ensure sustainability and success, in their businesses. So that's why it's important for us to keep pushing and keep making sure that there's equity in the space, the agricultural space, and the benefits that organizations like ours bring to the fore.
So organizations like yours often complain, when you have these initiatives and you hear that, my husband collected the money people gave us, or my husband thought we should do something different with it, so I could no longer, go ahead with it. Is it something you face? And when approaching and engaging with these communities, is it as usual, you call the women and tell them the benefits of the initiatives, or you incorporate the men as well?
Oh, thank you very much. We have programs that are mainly focused on women. Then we have other programs that are both men and women. So for programs both men and women, we don't have situations where we hear women say, oh, my husband did not.
Exactly.
No, we don't have that challenges, because women are getting more informed, unlike before. So now they have more information that our programs are targeted towards building their capacity, not just providing them with funds. So it's when it's fully related to funding, that's when you might hear situations where anyone will say, okay, my husband thought we should try something different. But no, what we aim in most of our program is to build the capacity of these women.
Okay.
So if you give someone money and they don't know how to invest it, the money is as good as nothing. Do you understand? Because you cannot give what you don't have. So what we do with our program is, first of all, build their capacity, especially in their field. So we have women who are producers, we have women who are processors, we have women who are distributors, depending on the value chains you are. And our aim, our focus is to first of all build your capacity, especially when you relate to climate change, when you relate to exports. So we have a program, like my colleague mentioned, that is focused on climate change. Let me just give you a little brief about the program. It's called the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks. From the name,
Building resilience against climate and environmental shocks, right?
Then from the name alone, you can see how impactful
it is, especially because we keep recording drought here, flood here.
Thank you very much. So what the program aims is actually a 6 weeks program, and the aim of this program is to build the capacity of agri-SMEs who are either producers, processors, to be able to withstand the impact of climate change on their agribusiness. They teach them different climate smart practices that they can adopt to, that will also help their business to withstand the effects of climate change. You know, when they said building resilience, resilience itself, the word resilience is the ability to withstand. So we know that climate change has come to stay. It's not going anywhere, whether we like it or yes. It's not going anywhere. So what can we do? All we need to do is to draft out measures, look for strategies to, let's say, mitigate the effects of this climate change on agribusinesses. So that is our major concern in African Food Change Makers, and that is what we do with the BRACE program.
That's very interesting. Building resilience. And has it been tough? Because a lot of us know the old ways of doing everything, planting at certain seasons. We must plant a certain way. So has it been tough, you know, getting women to understand that change can be effected in even this thing that you think your grandparents have been doing from time immemorial?
Okay, so change is possible, and it's not just a women conversation. It's actually everybody to understand that there's actually, the changes in climate are real. We can see how the rains are, irregular rains. We can see how droughts, you know, sometimes you don't see rain. And we've all, in most times where we've been relying on, you know, the natural rainfall. And so agriculture in this part of the world has been, there's a lot of reliance in the rainfall.
And it's tailored towards when rain decides to come and sun.
If it's not raining, we're not producing. But we understand that, you know, rain falls and we can actually collect this rain. We can actually produce all year round if we understand how to, you know, sustain the environment, sustain the farmlands, bring in irrigation, bring in those practices. You know, there's a lot of innovation in the agri sector. When you go to some Western countries, they plant all year round. Their yield is higher. So because there's a lot of dependence on the weather, dependence on natural rainfall, our yield is lower. We're not able to like harness the resources that are available. You know, even in the practices of like farming practices, you can find that there's a lot of waste that goes into, you know, farming. Some waste comes out of this way, wastewater, and people just throw these things away. We don't know that there's a way to recycle it back into the operations. And a lot of times the resources are wasted. You know, you waste the resources in your operations, and you come to another end and you're looking for some certain resources. Meanwhile, it's something you threw away. There are some things, waste that comes in the processing of some food crops that you can incorporate into the feeding of livestock. So these are the practices, you know, practical things that people can see, you know, because a lot of people come to our programs and they're like, I didn't know that this was possible. I could pull this out. And so beyond just the woman narrative, it's for the farming practice. And you find out that there's something about women. We like to conserve, so a lot of times we get some, you know, the receptivity might even tip from on the women end, might even tip the scales because of our natural maybe disposition to want to conserve, so it's all about conserving. It's all about being sustainable. It's all about being able to ensure that everything that comes out, you've used it to the highest potential and capacity before you throw it out. So there's no waste. Through the BRACE program, we're trying to tell the producers and all these agri agripreneurs that you can actually have an agricultural operation without waste. So, and you can be sustained, and you can even, like be more successful, because
Exactly.
what you're doing is that you're conserving funds that you would have spent on maybe feed, and you've seen how you're able to incorporate it back into your practice. So it cuts across not just planting, it cuts across livestock, fish produce, fisheries. We have a lot of people in the agripreneurs who are benefiting a lot. We have a lot of testimonials. They are talking about things that they never knew, and they've through the BRACE program they are able to learn. So we have a lot of women who are benefited, we have a lot of men who are benefited, and a lot of potential for others to benefit. The program is actually, we're taking applications for the program, and it's
okay,
free.
because that's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, how can anyone who wants to be part of this participate right now, because I am already interested. Funny thing is, I am a village girl. I love farming.
Love to farm. A lot of people do love that.
I still do love farming, but when you come to the FCT and you live in certain areas, you can't even have a small garden. You're like, this isn't how I grew up. If there's anything I miss, is going to my father's backyard, and there were vegetables and all of that. So how can one participate in this to be part of it? And is there a clause? Are there certain individuals who are not allowed, who should not even try?
Okay, thank you once again for that question. Before I go into that, I would like to add to what my colleague mentioned about waste. And that's because a lot of people are not informed about the impact of climate change, especially on agribusiness. I'll give you an example. My mom is a farmer. I mentioned earlier that I'm from Ebonyi State, and Ebonyi people are known to farm.
So, by the way, we are fighting with you people. Oh, they cross River State, but let's not bring the fight here.
Okay, let's So, I found out that yam wasn't part of her harvest last year, and I asked her how come, because I was certain that she planted yam,
like she always does.
Yes, she told me. She said all her yams got rotten from the soil at the time she harvested it, and I probed for that. She made mention that she planted using the normal schedule of planting. As farmers, they will know when to plant, when to weed, when to harvest. Unfortunately for her, it didn't rain when it was supposed to rain. So at the time it rained, it was so minimal that it wasn't enough to sustain the crop in the soil. So at the time she harvested, heat had already killed all her crop.
Wow.
Especially yam. So if she had undergone this program, don't you think she would have more knowledge to be able to withstand what happened to her? She would have gotten different strategies to curb that effect, the effect of whatever destroyed her crop. So that is what the program is focused on.
Right.
Helping people understand that climate change affects agribusinesses. And it doesn't just stop with agribusiness. So for agribusiness, what did it do to her? It caused crop failure, which is a loss. And as an agribusiness, the next thing it did to her is loss of income. Then for globally, what it will do is food insecurity.
Right.
So
it has an impact. It has an international impact.
Thank you very much. So at the end of the day, it's not just to agribusiness.
There's a ripple effect. Right.
Thank you very much.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
Thank you. So if she was able to make a little positive or good yam out of it, do you think she will sell it cheap? No,
of course not. Right.
So even if you have your money, the product might be too expensive for you.
Like we are already seeing, really.
Like we are already seeing. So to apply for the BRACE program, all you have to do is go to our website. You can click on you can type AFC. Let me give them the short so I don't have to stress them. So once you type AFC Hub,
AFC,
yes.
A for apple, F for food, C for carry, .org. AFCHub.org.
AFCHub.org, right?
Yes, if you go to our website, you will navigate your way to the programs aspect and you click on the BRACE program. Application is currently ongoing, And I'm sorry to inform you that
In a few days.
we just have few days.
And you had to come here when you had few days.
Yes.
There's
but
so
it
much you and I will have to
Because
fight
I feel
about.
like there's someone out there that still has to
It
benefit
doesn't
from
take
this
long to
program.
sign up. It
So
takes
doesn't
not more
take
than
long
3
for
So
months.
sign
okay,
up.
so my viewers are listening right now. Remember, you have limited time to sign up for this. You don't have the luxury of time.
Yeah.
If you want to be part of this program that would open your eyes to several perspectives and potentials in the agricultural sector, now is your time. afchub.org is the website to go. Type it right now and start signing up for the Brace.
Program.
How is that spelled?
BRACE.
BRACE.
Building resilience against climate and environmental shocks.
Right. Okay. Building resilience against climate and environmental shocks. Brace program. That's what you would sign up for. Is somebody like me also eligible?
Are you in the agri sector? Would be my
I
first
am.
question.
Believe it or not, I am. I'm not just one who reminisce on it. I own. I don't want to. I do have a farm, and I do have a pond, a fish pond, one that has a capacity of as much as 2,000 fish. So while it's still small, I'm excited, and I always say it here on air. In fact, some of my viewers afterwards will send me messages to say, "Yeah, an agro journalist." I'm like, yes, I am, and everyone should key into this. So, do we need to have a certain amount of farm, a large farm scale, or does good intention count?
So it's a capacity building program, and it's open for anyone within the agri food space, so that you can understand these things. We actually open it for entrepreneurs. We're focused on at Africa Food Changemakers. Actually, our commitment is to agri-food entrepreneurs, because we believe they are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem. We know that if they are equipped with the right practices, with the right knowledge, resources, capacity building resources, business development opportunities, they are able to leverage, their operations, leverage this understanding, these opportunities to grow and scale their businesses. And that's actually why we believe that we need to make this commitment to them, because when they scale these businesses, it impacts society, it impacts the food security issue. And so we call on we have these programs, the Scaling Export Program, the Brace Program, the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship Program. These programs are all directed towards empowering entrepreneurs, men, male and female, to start to scale successful agribusinesses. So we provide these programs, like we have explained through the Brace Program. We also provide other resources in the hub. So if you notice, it's African Food Changemakers Hub, afchub.org. So we have a hub where these entrepreneurs can sign up. So you're signing up for a Brace program. You can also, in the same breath, sign up as an entrepreneur into our hub. And on that hub, you're able to get the resources you need at your fingertips. Basically, it's at your fingertips. Trade linkages, peer-to-peer support, a community of support, because that's one thing that entrepreneurs lack. Many times they are functioning in silos, so you're struggling with your business. There's something you just don't know, and so through the program, we are feeding you with the knowledge and the capacity and the competencies you require. Then through the hub, you are actually also have access to engage with other entrepreneurs who have been through the program, who are in other programs, who are operating in their businesses, who are also going through these challenges, who have overcome these challenges, and there's peer-to-peer support. So there's no loss in joining the program. There's no loss in signing up for the hub. So we're calling on Nigerian agripreneurs, African agripreneurs, to sign up. This is something that is really beneficial. A lot of people don't know, and that's why we're here talking about it, so that more people can understand that these things are available, and then they can have it in one place.
Wow.
Because you might be going around looking for it, but it's in one place where you can access all the resources, all the information, even the people, the community especially, that you need. So the Brace program, this Brace program is key. is key for everyone functioning that. And what you asked me is who do you want to be. So it's open to but we're focused on agripreneurs who are running this business because we want them to begin to put those things to practice. So agribusinesses are everywhere, including people who are doing it by the side. Sign up. Gloria Praise will talk more about eligibility.
I would like to hear more about the eligibility because I'm sure people listening to us want to know,
exactly.
I can join, who else can join and all of that.
So just like she mentioned, you just have to be in the agri-food space.
Yeah.
You could be in the production value chain, processing value chain, and those in the distribution value chain are not even left out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You might say, what is my business? I'm not farming. I'm not processing anything. I'm just distributing. But you are part of
climate actually affects supply chain, supply chain and logistics. There's a dimension where climate can impact supply chain. So that's why distributors are also involved in that conversation, so they can understand, how to bring in the sustainability aspect into the practice of distribution and logistics. Yeah, so it's key.
So distribution does not necessarily mean moving the products from one place to another. There's also an aspect called storage.
Exactly.
The cold chain that must be maintained.
If you are not aware, perishable goods will destroy even before it gets to the final.
That's
true.
So that is what the BRACE program is about. It caters for both the distributors, so that somebody will not be dragging you somewhere. I gave you my goods in good condition. Exactly. So it caters for everyone regardless of your value chain, provided you are in the agri space.
When sometimes I think about the agri space, like I said, I'm a village girl, and it excites me, and I'm like, why then are we hungry? We have no business being hungry. I think I should ask you that question. Why are we then still hungry? There's so much. The value chain is endless. If you pick one, say the fish, for instance, the value chain is endless for it. There's those who ensure feeds. There's the feed distributors. Why then are we hungry?
Okay, so like we said,
and I know you're trying to avoid being political, but go ahead.
No. Like we said, we'll avoid all the political discussions because we believe that, everything is in our hands. We can't push the responsibility to any other person. So let's focus on what we can control and what we have responsibility for. So when it comes to this, it's usually the aspect of waste, because our operations are not well integrated, organized. So it's organizing all the factors, all the players in the value chain. It's not just having a value chain, for instance. It's being able to organize, because if we're more organized in the value chain, then the production is integrated, the supply is integrated. Just imagine, like I talked about earlier, the functioning in silos increases costs, contributes to waste, because what you could have done together, you're doing single-handedly, and so somebody is moving products from one place to the other. Another person is moving products from one place to the other. This person might have a half. His truck is half full. This other person is half full. Just imagine if those people can integrate their resources, and you're going with one truck, moving with one truck. So integrated storage, integrated production systems, integrated storage systems, all these things can contribute to increasing productivity, reducing the waste. So the idea is going into the system, into the value chain, and looking for those areas where there are gaps to plug them and then to integrate. So we need to have, we need to start working together. And it's not something we say government has to do. If more agripreneurs can actually come together in a community and start working together, there's a lot of waste we'll remove from the system, and then there'll be more conservation. And then this hunger question will be addressed. So we need to look at exactly what the issue is and then nip it at the bud where it is. And that's why we're building this community. That's why we always push for community. That's why we always push that, look, we can actually work together. We can work together. That's what we're doing in Africa Food Change Makers. We have people who have come into the hub and they've discovered themselves, And someone is trying to source, they are sourcing together.
Exactly.
Someone is trying to produce, they are producing together.
And it's easy to also find
driving, yes,
food has what you
exactly.
need.
So you're driving down the costs of your production, you're increasing your yield, and then the hunger
With
issue
less
is
stress.
yes. So the hunger. So we are actually addressing the situation because we know it's possible that these people can come together and work together, and so we're not waiting for anybody to do it. And let's rise up, let's come together, let's address this, and we can change it. And that's why we're called African Food Change Makers, because we believe that
you can change
these entrepreneurs, they are visionary, they are resilient. You know, because to have a business right now in Nigeria or in Africa and to run that business, it takes courage. And these are the people who are right there in the middle doing that. They need to be empowered, they need to be encouraged. And so we're doing everything to ensure that all the resources they need, all the opportunities they need, all the support they need, the collaborations they need is provided through the African Food Changemakers Hub, and give them that opportunity to begin to scale their businesses, and then we can address this, you know, organically.
Right.
Right.
So I know you have something to add as well, but just add the component of technology, and you know how sometimes we have those people not having access to internet, not having access to the information at all. So
for the people who don't have the internet, most of our programs are being run virtually, and I doubt if at this stage we still have people who don't have access to technology.
You live in a in a bubble, don't you?
So should we have people who don't have access to internet? What we do would be through our outreach programs, using our sister company, Sahel Consulting. They go to different rural communities, and all these practices are being incorporated into those lives. So we have
field people
who are called the field teams. When they travel to rural areas, not even places you never thought about, they cater for the needs of those people in terms of agriculture. And then to what I wanted to add before you asked me about the technology part, I want to talk about our community. I think there is one most interesting thing about our community. We have a place called the marketplace.
The marketplace?
Yes. It's a place that gives entrepreneurs the opportunity to display their products.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
so
that's exciting.
Go on the marketplace and display your products. Anyone who navigates,
and it's virtual. It's right.
So regardless of it's on the hub, the AFC hub. That's why she mentioned that it's rich. It's not just about our programs. We have our community there. We have the marketplace. The marketplace is in such a way that if you display your product and someone, whoever it is, navigates their way through our marketplace. If you want any product, you can just click on the product and it will automatically give information directly to the owner of that product. So you can contact the person directly and you will get the product.
I want to be part of the marketplace. I want to be part of. I can think of a million.
You can just type.
But because we've run out of time, I want to be part of the marketplace. I want to be part of this community, and I urge everyone to be part of this community that would make it seamless for you. It's a hub where you meet everyone that has something you need and something you probably need to sell as well. Well, you can check on your mobile www.afchub.org. That's where you get more information about everything. And I'm excited about the marketplace. I must thank Ruth Egbe.
Yes.
I got it right.
Yes.
You also have a name that resonates with my people.
I know.
Operational Manager, African Food Change Makers. We also have here Gloria Praise Chinwendu Basi, who is the Program Officer, Sahel Consulting, Agriculture and Nutrition. African Food Change Makers as well. Thank you so much for being part of the program. I've had a wonderful time. You've blown my mind as to the many potentials in this agri sector. Thank you again for being part of the program.
Thank you.
Remember to sign up for the Grace.
I am going to do that. We have just 3 days. Sign up for the BRACE program. Remember, again, is afchub.org. Yes, 2 to 3 days. We don't have time any longer, but this is where we draw the curtains on ASO Morning. It's been wonderful. I hope you have learned a thing or two and ready to also join this community of agropreneurs. It's an interesting term. I'm beginning to get acquainted with myself. I am Joy Asoye. Have a blessed and productive day.